It's about time we start creating this amazing oversized watch. We're going to start by getting into our Moxie Box kit. Let's open it up and look at all the materials we get with this kit. I mean, we have stickers and cardboard and paint pens and even a real clock. Yep, a clock mechanism that's going to make our clock work perfectly. And this last thing, look at this. How big is this piece of felt? This is going to be a fun project to create. First, we want to make sure that our workspace is covered. This can get a little messy with the paint pens. And speaking of the paint pens, we're going to start by activating the paint pens. So when you get your paint pen, you're going to pull the cap off, and then you're going to notice that the tip of the marker or the paint pen it doesn't have any color in it. So we need to first shake it up. We'll put the cap on nice and tight, shake it up, and then we're going to press that tip down on some paper towel and press it so that it actually goes inside the paint pen. So look at that, just like that. We're going to do this several times, and eventually the paint comes down to the bottom of the tip. So look at that. I did that quite a few times, and now this pen is going to work. You need to do this for all of your paint pens. Now that we have our paint pens ready, we're actually going to get started on doing a little prep work on the case of our watch. So this circle is called the face, and the thing that it's sitting on is called the case and the face. We're going to take our pencil and go around the face. I have those two circle holes lined up. So the middle is lined up. And then I'm taking my pencil, and wherever the line goes to the edge on the face, I'm making a little line, and that's going to help me line this up later. All right, once I'm done with that, remove the face from the cardboard case, and then I'm going to put that mark inside the circle as well. Again, when we start adding the color, this is going to help us kind of organize and make sure that everything is nice and even when we start adding our design. Now it's time to take our paint pens and put them to work. So you're going to choose one color to fill in the case. And I'm going on the outside of the circle. If the marker isn't working, just give it another little tap onto your paper towel to get that activated again. And you're going to be adding color to the whole outside of this circle. So I chose blue here, and I'm going back and forth, and I want to make sure that I don't go too much in the same spot. What you're going to find when you're working on this cardboard is that it actually starts pulling up just a little bit. So you'll end up with a little bit of texture to your case. That's going to be fine. So don't worry about that. But also, like I said, don't color too much in one spot. We don't want it to get too wet. Another thing that might happen as we're adding the color onto this cardboard, you might end up getting a little cardboard on the tip of your paint pen. So just use your paper towel to just kind of wipe that off. We're going to add a base color to all the cardboard pieces. In this case, I'm going to actually use several colors, starting inside and working my way out. And one thing I discovered in doing this is that if I add two paint pens next to each other when they're wet, they actually start kind of blending into each other. So if I were to do this again, I would do every other ring and then go back once this part is dry. But we have a lot to color, so you're going to be jumping between different products, and this is going to allow a little bit of dry time for all of the paint. Speaking of dry time, you might want to add some paint pen to your hands, the hands of your clock. So the minute hand and the hour hand, you could add a little bit, maybe even the second hand, a little bit of paint pen. You want to do this now so it has plenty of time to dry before you actually place it on your clock. On a clock, there are 12 numbers, 1 through 12. What I'm going to do is choose one color and place a number on each little medium dot. So I have these round stickers and I am adding no, number 1, number 2, number 3 on these with pencil first. And then I'm going to switch out and grab a paint pen and again draw right over the top and giving this plenty of time to dry. So that's why we're doing this before we start adding any decorations onto our clock itself. All right, let's start sticking those stickers. I'm choosing to use the large stickers on my case to begin with. Of course, these are all just suggestions. There is no wrong way to do this, but I'm going to show you the way that I ended up doing it. I used the little marks that I had made earlier to figure out exactly where to place these dots, these stickers. I first did the bottom, then the top, then the side and the side. And then I filled in between those stickers. You get to use any of these stickers on any of these pieces of cardboard. So I'm mixing things up, using the big stickers, using the small stickers, using the lines that were on there again to kind of give me an idea of where I want to add these so that they're evenly distributed. All right, we're going to pick up those numbers now, and hopefully they've had plenty of time to dry, and we're going to place them on the face of our clock. So I'm starting with the number 12 and 6. 12 goes on the top, 6 goes on the bottom. If you need to pause this video until everybody has the 12 and 6 on, please do so. The next two stickers we're going to add is the number 9 and the number 3. So the 3 you're going to place on the right-hand side, and the 9 is going to go on the left-hand side. So we have stickers at the top, bottom, and both sides now. Now we're going to go kind of in order. So we're going to start with number 1, which seems like that's what we should have started with. But 1 is going to go next to 12, and then 2 is going to go next to 1. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to continue. So we'll go to 4, 5, and then you'll see 6. We're going in order around the clock. The Moxie manual has great visuals of how to put these numbers on so they're in the correct places. Please utilize that as you're working. Pause this video when you need to, and then we can all get this done successfully at the same time. At this point, you're going to use the paint pens again, and you're going to start adding a little bit of design to your face of your clock. You can go back and forth using stickers and going to paint pens. You're going to create a design on both the case and on the face using both the paint pens and the stickers. Since we have the paint pens ready to rock and roll, let's go ahead and take that felt out because we're going to be adding some design to this as well. The felt has two sides to it. It has a green side and a purple side. You get to choose what color you want for yours. All right, we're going to make some dash lines along the edge of the strap. What this is going to do is make it look more realistic because the watch straps of most watches are actually sewn together. So these dash lines are representing the watch strap being sewn together. Now we're going to start assembling this watch, and we're going to start with the buckle. So there is a pointy side to the belt and a flat side. We're going to start with the flat side to put the buckle on. And there's two holes on the buckle. We're going to go from underneath the buckle through the bottom hole. So underneath through the bottom hole. Then it's going to loop over the top and go through the top hole. So what we're doing is we're attaching this buckle to the felt by looping it through. Now there's this little circle that has been cut all the way through. We need that to be at the brace, at the piece of cardboard in between the buckle. and that's going to hold the buckle tongue. So take a look at this. We're going to flip it over, add a line of glue, then we'll use some clips to hold it in place. Once the clips are on there nice and secure, you're going to take the tongue of the buckle tongue, and add some glue on that, place it in the circle, and then we're going to let it dry. As that is drying, we're going to add the keeper. So go down to the pointy side of the felt and take the keeper, which has one hole in it, and go through the hole and bring it all the way up almost to the buckle. There is a line or a crease that was made from the packaging for this felt, and we're going to cover that up with the keeper. So right at that crease, add a line of glue, and then go ahead and take the other two clips and add them on to keep it in place, keep it secure as the glue dries. Once it's all completely dry, we can take the clips off and use them someplace else. In the meanwhile, let's put together the clock mechanism. The clock mechanism has a black washer. That's a black little circle. Place that on top of the clock mechanism. Then put the case on, then the face on, and you can see that that center piece is going through both of those holes. The next step that we're going to do is take the other washer, this one's gold, and it's just another circle, place it on top of that one, and then we're going to take something called a nut. The nut is going to keep everything in place, and it gets screwed onto that center post. This part can be a little challenging, so asking for adult help might be a good way to get this done. Or if you have friends in your classroom that have successfully done it, maybe they can give you a hand as well if you're struggling. Speaking of hands, we're going to add the hands onto the clock itself. So the shortest one is the hour hand, and that goes on first. And then the minute hand is the other thick one, like the hour hand. And you really need to press this on until it clicks into that center post. The second hand has a pin that's going to go right on the very tippy top of that post. All right, now that we have all of that in, it's time to put the battery in. So there's a plus sign and a minus sign on the battery. You want to put the plus sign with the plus sign in the mechanism and the minus sign with the minus sign in the mechanism. Again, take a look at your Moxie manual to get a better idea. Now, what you can do is make this clock be the right time by using a little circle wheel on the back of the mechanism. If you move that, it's going to make it go to the right time. Now, as these hands go around, you might have to adjust them. So you see me kind of pulling them up because they might run into each other. So you can bend them just slightly so that they avoid each other when they're moving around the clock. I do not want my face to move around. I want the 12 to always be at the top and the 6 to always be at the bottom. So using a little craft glue at the top and the bottom in between the case and the face is going to help it stay in place. Let's pretend that time has passed and we are ready to put the face onto the felt strap. So here's how we're going to do that. You want to make sure all of the glue is dry. So this might be a second day deal. And then you're going to use that top hole and that bottom hole. The pointy side of the felt is going to go down the top hole and then up the bottom hole. So down the top hole to up the bottom hole. And you're going to pull the felt all the way through until the creases that we talked about earlier, the middle crease is in the middle back of your clock case, that is. Now there's just a few final touches. This is called the crown. You can choose to add one or two of these onto your watch, adding some craft glue and using the clips to hold it in place until it has dried. And then we're going to go ahead and add a little craft glue in between the felt and the case as well. And that's going to allow this to stay in place. The craft glue works really well, but it does need dry time. And you're going to use the clips always to give that nice, secure bond. These watches are going to look amazing hanging on the wall. It might look really cool to display them as a class, or you can just bring it home and make sure that it's in a place of honor. Moxie Box Arts would love to see what you made. Take a picture and share it with us at moxieboxart.com or on social media. Tag us so that we can see what you've done.